Hello, everyone. To wash my fingers. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Is anybody here? Can anybody hear me? I have gotten so many comments, so many questions. A lot of people are interested in these books. Hey, Susan, that I've been trying to make myself and haven't had time. Hi, Marilyn. Nice to see you. Um, And so since I have not had time to do a whole lot of anything else, and I have had so many questions, you had a hard time finding the live? I just started, Vicky. Hi, Tilda. I just started. I was a little late. Happy Tuesday. And so since I've gotten so many people are interested in this, and um, people really love the idea of being able to use up their stuff, their special, all that those special collections that they've got going on. Hi, Vicky. So I thought that I would continue on and talk about these books just a little bit more, answer some of those questions, um, because there's quite a few construction questions and things like that. I'd hoped to get one of my books put together, and I'm going to show you. I've got three in the works. I have three planned. And the reason I have three of them is because they're different sizes. Um, so I had hoped to get my stuff together, but I'm having a difficult time. Hey, Debbie, because what is going on with me is I am trying to organize all my stuff. I want to do my books, and I want all my stuff. I don't want to put my book together and then later on find, two or three things that I really wanted in the book and just didn't find, forgot that I had, or all that other kind of stuff. So, hi, Missy, Kat, and Anne. So, um, that's why I'm having such a hard time. Number one, I am organizing my room, but I've got so much stuff, I'm having some difficulty, trying to make new piles and organize stuff, and then I get what I've organized lost because I've got so much stuff. But I'm going to be using up quite a bit of this stuff. So what I'm doing is I am collecting my stuff. If you guys haven't seen these, they are they're a variation of a junk journal. They were inspired by the Flowish books, the Flowish magazine, not Flowish, Flow magazine, Flow books. Hi, Kathleen. Um, a couple years ago, after being introduced to the Flow magazine, I really liked the idea of having a book I'm a paper lover. I collect all different kinds of paper. I collect different kinds of scrapbook paper that's got different textures. I like different pieces of paper, like maps and, things that are unique, things that are different. I like to collect that stuff. And I like the idea of putting all that together in a book, sewing it together so that all my collection is in one place. All right. Hi, Patricia. And so that's what I wanted to do. So it has been a few years in coming. Rosemary Morris does flowish type journals, and they are very similar to these. Um, but the concept for the flowish journals are books that you collect different kinds of papers and things, but it's mostly made so that you use the stuff that the book is made from. I wanted to keep my collection together in a book, and so I've sewn mine together so that I can enjoy my collection and look at my collection. Hi, Linda. And I don't have to worry about things going missing or, whatever. So that's that's where my books are going. There's no wrong way to do it. If you want to do a flowish book like this and maybe use the easy twine binding, something like that, where you can slide your signatures in and out. You can use what you want. You can add things. Danada, hello. Or take things away if you've decided that you want to use it someplace else. The easy twine binding is really good for this because if you've got some really special stuff that you really don't want to sew into a book, you want options for later. Something like this, you can slip those pages in so it's right where you know where they are, but it's not permanent. You can take those pages out again. So for something like that, if I'd had a whole signature, I can slip them, the signature or the pages or whatever, underneath one of these threads. And this is not the right size, so I'm having difficulty, but just slip it in the thread and then you've got the page. So anyway, no wrong way to do anything. Hi, Christoph. Hello, hello. Hello, everyone. I've just kind of gone in and started doing my thing. So happy Tuesday, everyone. And so I am going to be talking about these little, and I call them personal books. I call them personal books because they can be extremely personal for each and every person. Personal in a way that you're using your collection of papers, and those can be extremely personal. You can use um, you can use things like if you've gone on a trip recently, the maps and the brochures and things that you got on your trip, you can make into one of these books or just pages into one of these books. Um, One of the ideas that I had, and I wish I don't have any children that are ready to graduate at this point, but um, has moms. I haven't used newspapers yet. I need to. I've done the covers with the newspaper, but these are glued on and they're not going to rip or tear anything. But they do need a coating of something on them because they're getting yellow with a little bit of sunlight. They're already starting to get yellow. Um, what I thought would be a great graduation gift for a child graduating from high school or college or something. You know how, as mothers, we save every little bit of artwork and, those A's when they got A's on their homeworks and, all that stuff from school that they would bring home. Am I the only one that would save all that stuff? Hi, Denise. Wouldn't it be cool for a graduation present to take out all those pieces of artwork and homeworks and all that stuff from school? Make pages. This is one of those learning to write tablets. Make pages starting from like kindergarten and going all the way to high school or college or wherever you're going with it, and include all those little bits and bobs so that the person graduating could see their progress from when they began, all their artwork and all that stuff, and see how much fun it would be just to have that in a book. Hi, Jersey Crafter, Mrs. Gigi, Maria. Hello, everyone. So glad you guys are here. It's wonderful to see everybody in the chat. But I thought that would be a really cool gift for somebody graduating, especially from high school, just to have their school mementos all put together in a book. Hey, Curly T. I think that would be so. That's what I mean by a personal book. It is one of a kind stuff, things that you've been collecting, things that you like, things that mean something to you. Um, it can be very, very personal. It could be a wish list, I want to travel to this place and this place and this place. Collect the maps, collect the brochures, plan your trip even though you may not be going. It might be fun just to make um, a wish book, places that I'd love to see, an idea for a personal art book, an album with your own weird photographs. Of course, yes. You like that idea? Your son just came home last day of school with lots of great keepsakes. I actually saved most of my stuff going through school, but I have since gotten rid of it. And I wish I had thought of saving it because that would be cool just to have a book. And you would have to make it the size that you needed. If you didn't really want to fold papers together, you could make a larger book and just, you know, paper clip or glue the pages to other pages, lots of different things. Anyway, so I wanted to talk about not only putting the pages together, but a lot of people have had questions about, how many signatures do you put in? Well, that's kind of a personal thing. You can put as many signatures as you want. You can put as many pages as you want into your books in your signatures. And we've had quite a discussion about number of pages in a signature. You keep finding kid stuff, and now that they're almost in their 40s, they would appreciate it more. I think it would be a really cool thing to put together a book for somebody. Another thing that would be pretty cool for somebody maybe that's getting married, having a bridal shower or something, making the pages of a book from the wrapping paper and the greeting cards that you get at, maybe a birthday party or a bridal shower or a, a baby shower, even. Just making the pages from the wrapping paper, people could write on those pages or, you know, add all the cards, that kind of thing. That would be a really cool keepsake for a baby shower. And then almost like a scrapbook, you could add things about the baby, pictures and notes and, weight and height and, they did this and first words and, all that kind of stuff would be pretty cool written on written on written on those pieces of wrapping paper or, things from the party. I don't know if a lot of people do. Hey, Katina. I don't know if a lot of people do scrapbooking anymore, but this would be almost an easier way to do scrapbooking. When I say a personal book, it can be an art book. It can be just a collection of papers or images that you've been saving forever and ever and ever. It could be a memory keeper. It could be a gift for, a child with the artwork, whatever. It could be like a scrapbook. Um, you could add, whatever to it. It could be travel memories. It could be a wish list. It can be anything. It's almost like an anything goes book, you guys. You would have to start when they're in preschool if you're doing some kind of a keepsake for a child with all their work, but a lot of parents, I know I'm one of those, I would have a box for each kid and would put things in the box. Gonna do something with this. I'm gonna do something, and never do, never do, so that I have it all together. I would have had, but things have happened to it. Anyway, another thing that you can do just on the idea of a personal book, and greeting cards and stuff. I just want to push this out there so that you see it. We get those greeting cards from those special people, and we don't really want to throw them away. What do you do with them? You can make them into a book, right? So this is a card that came from a special friend of mine for my birthday. She signed it and stuff. And nothing was on the back, so I added a little bit of artwork. You could also, here's another one. You could also include pockets in these. And I need to just give me 1 second. I see it jumping, and that's so let me turn off the autofocus since it seemed to come on. And let me turn that off so it will stop jumping. I know that drives me crazy, so. All right. All right. So I've added pockets to this card so that when I put it into a book, and I've got a ton of different cards. Some of them I've made myself out of cardstock, just added some pockets. And so I can put these all together in a book. Some of them are just store bought. I wanted more cards. Put them together in a book, make signatures or whatever with them. And then they've got pockets so I can add little bits of tidbits in there. So again, another personal way to save letters, cards, things that you've gotten that you want to keep but are tired of just putting them in a box and you're not able to enjoy them very often because you forget that you've got this stuff, right? You forget about it. If you were to make a book of cards, you could actually do the easy twine binding with something like this so you wouldn't have to sew them in. You could, make a signature by just like stacking them together and then sliding them under each piece of twine. Then they're in a cover. And I don't have a cover that would be good for this. This is almost the right size of a cover. You can make the cover the spine really wide if you've got a lot of cards. Um, and then you've got a book of cards. Hi, Becky. What a wonderful, way to you put the book on a shelf. They're not in a box anymore. You can flip through them, enjoy them, have a great time. You can add tags and, photographs, whatever, to the pockets that you've added. And um, another great way to keep keepsakes. All right. So I wanted to talk about making these books. Um, you could put all these kinds of papers together and just make an art journal. If you've got different pads of paper, book pages, you know, you've got watercolor paper, but you don't want an entire book of watercolor paper to use, you can use a mixed bit of papers: scrapbook paper, vellum, copy paper, writing paper, drawing paper, watercolor paper, anything that you have that you'd like to put together in a book so that all the pages are different. And then you can start adding maybe collage, paint, whatever. You could journal in it. You can do whatever you want to. And all the pages are different and fun and personal to you. You can make them any size. Hi, Nick and Tina. It's probably Tina, right? So, my thing, what I've been wanting to do forever, is I wanted a place to put all my special collected papers. That was my thing. Now, I have got a bunch of different sizes of things. So that is why I am making 3 different books. I am collecting for 3 different books. Um, and I've shown this before. So the first thing that I do when I am doing this is I'm collecting my pages. Now, I have found that I've got pages of things that I want to save all over the place, and it is taking a very long time to organize and find all those things that I have saved, right? But in all realities here, um, if you had a certain place, a box or, someplace just to put your things that you really like, then you wouldn't have to go searching for everything. Just an idea. All right. So my thing is I love these handmade papers. I love them, love them, love them. In this, I've got some birthday cards. I've got some calendar pages that I really liked. I've got some of my favorite painted papers, scrapbook papers that I love the texture of. Popcorn bag. I don't know why I really like this. I do. This is a Paris bus and metro network map from, I thought I saw a date on it. This is from Uncle Vern. He had it stashed. I don't see a date on it now. It was probably from the 80s or the 90s. I want to say the 80s. No, 1995. But it's so cool. It's so cool. And I actually do have a plan for just a map book. So I haven't decided if this is going in this book or if it's going in my map book yet. So I've got images that I liked, a simplicity envelope, more cards. book pages that I really, really, really like. Magazine pages. This is an envelope. Pages from a sketchbook that I did some things with and didn't use all the sketchbook, so I was using it for paper. Actually, here is the cover of the sketch pad. It's a sketch pad. It actually came from England, so it still has the price tag on it in pounds. And I really liked it. I wanted to save it. There's nothing really special about it, but it means something to me. And what I did on the blank side on the inside was glued in some of my collected newspaper words. And that's what I would suggest. Find a place to put your collection in. I probably have way too much stuff here, and I've got a ton of different things, cards and book pages. Here's a book jacket. Uh-oh. Let me plug in here. I meant to plug in. There we go. A book jacket. I loved these handmade papers. I don't really want to do anything with them. I don't want to collage with them. I just love them the way they are. So they will be a page in my book. They're going to be really, really fragile. Look at this pattern. I just love that little circles there. Love it, love it. So this is my collection menu of one of my favorite places in Montgomery. Vellum. I love vellum. Some of my artwork. This was a bag from the St. Louis Zoo, and I love the zebras. Their zebras are printed on either side, but when you look at them, it looks like they are looking at each other. Um, so I just cut off the handle, and it says, "Can you come out and play?" I loved it. I absolutely loved it. So it's not paper, it is plastic. But I am going to include that in my book. I love that. Mine is all mixed up too, and that's why I'm having a hard time finding everything. Brochures of places that I've been, paper bags that I loved, wallpaper, doilies. This was it's upside down. This was a placemat at a Chinese restaurant, and it has a description of the Chinese zodiac. Loved that. I wanted to keep that. I want it just the way it is. So that's what I've been doing. I have been going through things, and as I find things, I am putting them in the box that has this book in it. All right. So that's what I would suggest is the first step. The first step is finding your special stuff, figuring out what you've got. Now, I've got way too much. Now, I've decided that I want to use this cover. I made this cover quite a long time ago. It's got a huge spine. It has inside the cover these pockets. This paper came from Borders, and it's the last bit of this paper that I have. I loved this circle wrapping paper is what it was. So, um, so I actually made this cover with these pockets using up this last little bit of paper. And I want to use it. And I want to use it for this because this is really special to me. And so I want to put my special papers in it. Okay, so we're going to talk about your sizes. You're collecting your stuff and you're going to have all kinds of different sizes. Now, it doesn't matter if your pages are different sized. I enjoy having my pages. I like having small things and large things. I like my pages to be different sizes. You all know my junk journals all have little short, stubby pages in them. I'm trying to get them all organized here so that I don't crease anything where I don't want it creased. Let me put this back. All right. So what I've been doing is I've been collecting my pages. Let me get this out of the way for just a second. All right. And the reason I have 3 books going right now is because I have things in different sizes. Now, this is my medium-sized one, and I'm trying to pull it up, but it's heavy. All right. This monster, and it is so big that it doesn't go into the camera. Let me put this to the side here. This monster is huge. This one is, and I don't even know if it's big enough yet. It is almost 13 inches high by 11 inches wide. It's big because I've got some really cool big stuff. And this stuff has been all over the place. All right. This box actually a friend gave to me. They got in, I don't know if they ordered something, but it came in this box. And I thought that was really cool. And I tried to take the tape off of it, and now it's got sticky parts. So I'm going to have to put some collage and stuff on the sticky parts. But I really liked it as a cover. It's got a very wide spine. So I've got to find a bunch of stuff to put into this book. Yes, this is a huge, huge book. All right. So what I have collected here are a bunch of special, here's some, I just recently got these from Daiso. Pages from their magazine, newspaper, or their pamphlet thing that they had in front. I took it apart and I saved some pages. Sticker puzzle books. I love sticker puzzles. Look at this thing. Of course, I got it at the Dollar Tree. It gives you a grid with the numbers on it, and then you've got to go through and find the correct number on the stickers and make your picture. I'm such a big kid. Love these things. So I'm going to probably take that apart and put it together. Here's one of my latest finds. When I lived in England, I lived near Peterborough. And I went to the cathedral there and did a rubbing of Catherine of Aragon's stone that's right there in the floor of the cathedral. That's where she's buried, I think. So this thing, it's huge. I got a great big huge piece of tissue paper, did a crayon rubbing on this, and have had it. It's probably 30 years old. It's pretty fragile. It's huge. I've really never known what to do with these 2 pieces. And they've been stained and all kinds of stuff. So they're going in this book. I don't know if I'm going to sew them in as pages or what I'm going to do, but these are extremely special to me. Color books, calendar pages, joss paper, bags, just all kinds of, here's my menu again, the whole thing this time, other menus, maps and atlas pages, envelopes, just things that I really, really liked. I either like the texture of them, or here's a book cover, a jacket. This came from Irina. I absolutely loved that Russian, so I have to put that in there. It's special stuff. This one came on a magazine. I'm sure you guys have seen them. It came on, I'm not sure which magazine. Bazaar, Harper's Bazaar. Not too long ago, a couple months ago. that this was covering it, and I really liked it, so in it went. Some of my favorite book pages, I take books apart. I cut the binding strings so that I can have double-sided pages and they're not sideways, because sometimes that drives me crazy. So I've got quite a few of those type of pages. Mona Lisa, um, wrapping paper, and just all kinds of things. Collecting, all kinds of things. So I have all that kind of stuff in this book. Now, the reason I've got 3 going is because I've got huge stuff. I don't necessarily want this special stuff that's small to go with this special stuff that's on the really small size. So I've got 3 different sizes going on. And I've got so much stuff that I've got 3 different boxes of things so that I can kind of separate by size. So there's a bunch of different things in here too. I really, really enjoy the handmade papers. Love them. I'm going to put this away. Um, so that's what I suggest. Get a box, something large, something that you can find, and as you're organizing, as you're sorting, as you find things, put them in the box. When you get your stuff put together, then you can figure out what size you want. You may have enough stuff for, like me, I've got enough stuff for probably 10 books. So I'm going to get all my stuff together and decide exactly what is the most special to me, what I really, really want included, and what I could put into another book. And you guys, what I'm also doing is I am putting things aside that I thought I was going to use for my book. I will be making some different sized of these books as well for sale, but it's going to take me a while to get them done. So um, if you are interested, let me know. I am going as fast as I can making these, but it's going really, really slowly. Hopefully, when I get organized enough and find everything, it will go pretty quickly at that point. But that's my issue right now is I am trying to find everything, and when I think things I found just about everything, I find another bookshelf or something, with all kinds of more a bunch of other things that I had actually saved. So that's what I suggest. Collect your pages, collect your special somethings, and decide what size of book you want. You may have really large things like I do, so you may want a large book, or you may have just regular size things for a regular size book. And then what I'm doing is I'm collecting my pages first, then I know what size to make the covers. Now I am planning, I've got 2 of them going on here. I am planning, and I did this yesterday, I was trying to get it done for today. This is one of the books that I've put some extra little bits in. Some book pages, some color book pages, some scrapbook papers, some painted papers. These are some maps, calendar pages, all that stuff. Music, fun stuff. And I have decided that all of this stuff is going to go into a book. Now, I'm going to do this one is going to be a Copic sewn together with a Copic stitch. And here's the covers that will go on it. I haven't decided if that's as thick as it's going to be. But those were the papers I decided I was going to make the book with. And so that kind of dictated what size my cover was going to be. right? I know I love that cat wrapping paper too. I may not, the roll's getting kind of thin. Um, so that is one that is planned. And then the other one is another one of these with the Chinese newspaper. Again, I collected my papers and I am going to put them in this book. So I'm going to make sure that the cover is large enough to fit my papers. So I measured the largest piece of paper, and that kind of dictated how large my book was going to be. Now this one is the same size as the one that's finished. It is 9.5 by 6.5 inches. It's a nice size. It fits quite a bit of stuff. I really like it. And it has a 2-inch spine on it. So when I'm collecting papers for something like this, number one, I use different weights of paper. I have some cardstock in here. I have some doilies and some thinner pieces of paper. And you want to make sure that when you are putting your pages together, if you're going to be adding things to the pages, which I am going to be adding more things to each page because I have blank um, things on the back. I don't necessarily want to have blank pages. So what I will do is either paint on these pages or a little bit of collage, magazine images, or whatever, um, to make the page interesting. And on top of that, I will probably add envelopes and you know postcards, other personal things that I've collected, family photographs, things like that. Now, I want to make sure that I've got enough pages that are strong enough to hold paper clips and binder clips. You don't want your pages tearing with a bunch of use. So I've made sure that some of the scrapbook papers that I am including are cardstock weight. Some of the calendar pages are the cover part of it so that I can add these kinds of things to some of these pages and not worry that the pages will get weak and rip and all that stuff. All right. So when I am doing books, I don't count the number of pages. We had a great big huge discussion about this. The reason I don't count pages is because I may have, you know, cardstock and really thin paper, uh, but that won't be the same thickness as some other kinds of paper. So I go by what fits in my book. I want, since I am adding paper clips and other kinds of things, I want there to be enough space in my book so that I can add those without the alligator mouth going on. All right? And what I mean by alligator mouth, I did not come up with that. I've heard it from somebody else. Many other people have said alligator mouth. Um, but when you've got a book that is just so stuffed full of pages and bits and bobs and things, and you can't shut it, it looks kind of like a wide open alligator mouth, um, and you can't get it shut because there's too much stuff in the book. I don't like my books to be really skinny either. I want them to be just right. pretty particular. But something like that. Okay, so there is no alligator mouth. Some people love alligator mouth. Some people love a book that is really full, and they are spectacular. I have to admit, I enjoy looking at those. Um, I don't I don't dislike alligator mouth in a book. I don't like my books to be alligator mouth because they don't fit on a shelf very well, and I don't have room to display a bunch of books that can't close. That's the only reason I don't do that. Um, it's absolutely the only reason. I just don't have a place to put those those books if they don't close. I need to be able to put them on a shelf. I need to be able to store them somehow. And but I love the way they look. They are really cool. So I make sure that my pages are like this so that when I start putting little bits and bobs in there, whatever it may be, here's a cool little library pocket that I may include, playing cards. I found these at Daiso. Look at these giant playing cards. Giant playing cards. I haven't even opened them. Oh, look at that book. The box is really cool. I'll have to make a book out of the box itself too. Anyway, um, I like to add playing cards and envelopes with things and all that kind of stuff. But you've got to make room for, let me put this back in here, for the paper clips and the binder clips and things. They take up space. They're not as thin as paper. So they really fluff up your book quite a bit. So you want to make sure that the book is as fat as you want it to be. And of course, I love adding all kinds of stuff. That's one of the things that and flip outs, you can add flip outs too. Um, and one great way to add flip outs, one great way to add flip outs is adding envelopes to the pages. So you've got this greeting card, you can glue the flap of an envelope to that and then have a flip out. Those add fluff to your book as well. There's that popcorn bag. I need to put that in there too. So, envelopes. You want to be able to put things in the envelopes. If you add collage and paint and things to the pages themselves, that's also going to add some thickness to the paper. I don't really like the plain backs of things, so I will probably add something to those. All right? Adding paint, adding collage, adding images will also make your book larger, fatter. It'll make the pages fatter. So you want to be able to, if you've got a lot of images that you're saving to put into your book, you've got those special pages, then you've also got those images that you've been saving forever that you want to put on those parts of the book that don't have anything. The backs of the scrapbook paper or the menus or the backs of, whatever you've got. And I was going to go through and do some of that today for this book. And all that good stuff. Another thing that I would like to add into my books, here's a homework page. I found this in a textbook. It's not my homework. It is some random person's homework, but I love the looks of it. I may have to, hi Jennifer, I may have to scan it before I put it in so that people can use it. This is a note that I found in some book somewhere. And again, I may have to scan that so that I can use that for collage, but it would also make a really cool page. This is a printout of one of my great grandfather's letters. It's not the whole letter. I just kind of printed it out in black and white so that I could use the handwriting. So I could rip it up and use it in collage. But that would make a great page. But the problem with that is it is blank on the other side. I don't like that so much. So I'm going to want to add paint or whatever. And I've got quite a few of those kinds of things. Printouts. This is one of those things that I scanned some matchbook covers, some tickets, the matches themselves. I don't know why I did that, but they are kind of interesting. I just put this stuff on the bed of my scanner and just scan it. And then I can cut it out, and it is just regular copy paper weight. So it's really easy to glue wherever I want it. If I wanted to reproduce some of these tickets, I may do a printout on a piece of cardstock and then clip it out so it has a little bit of body to it. Use the matchbook covers on cardstock and then refold them so that they are their own little matchbooks again. Um, I used to scan things a lot, but I find that I have way too much stuff already and I don't have time to do a bunch of scanning. I need to use things up. I don't need to be saving everything. Um, so I'm trying not to scan everything. I'm trying to use it. I have way too much stuff to be scanning it and using it again and again and again. I've got probably enough stuff for 10 books, at least. At least. I do not need to scan and save every little bit. I need to start using things. So here's another thing that I came across in my adventures this week. I came across a whole box of stuff and special stuff too, things that I want included in the book. But I had done a thing about handwriting quite a while ago. I want to say that I did this in Alabama, and that was more than 2 years ago. So I wrote this. It's my own handwriting, and I wrote it in a circle about, it says to somebody, remember when people wrote letters? Wouldn't it be fun to bring back the art of letter writing? I remember as a child getting a letter addressed to only me and how special I felt as I sat and read it. So it just goes on and on and on. I just wrote this letter in a circle. I don't know. And then folded it up, and I'd probably use a paper clip and clip it into the book. But it would make, if I were to do it as a page just to write round and round and round and round in a circle, it would make a really cool page too. And I might do that on the backs of some of these, just add some writing so that there's something on the page. It doesn't really matter what I write. But I thought it was fun. I thought it was fun. Had to show you. And this is what I mean by maybe we should start exchanging, trading, swapping some handwritten by ourselves things. They don't have to be special. They don't have to be anything. Um, they can be random thoughts, as obviously this was. And I'll write some more of these. I'm going to put this to the side here so I can write this again so I don't have to think about what I'm writing. But you could write out Shakespeare or Alice in Wonderland or things that don't have copyright on them, you could just write them out. It doesn't really matter. Letters would be great for this. All right. So let me put that to the side. Of course, I'm going to lose it by the time I need it again. So that's what is going on here, guys. It's a personal book, and you can use this as an art book with the special paper that you want to make your art on. You can make it as a collection, saving those. I know that I'm not the only one because people have been commenting about, oh, that's a great idea. I've got a collection too and don't know how to use it. So it can be a collection book. It's going to be a very unique, one of a kind. No two books are going to be the same because no two people are going to collect exactly the same thing, the same kinds of papers to make the books or the same kind of images. It could be a memory keeper, a gift, um, make it special for somebody, and make it a gift. And that's what I mean by personal. It can be anything. It can be everything. It could be a combination of all of those things, but it's going to be mostly special things that mean something to you. It's a personal way to keep your special memories. And that's, I think, what people are really getting excited about is number one, using our stuff, having a place to put our stuff so that we can enjoy it, having a reason to use our stuff, and not feeling bad about using it because you can put your pages together. You don't have to cover them. All those special things that you have saved, you don't have to put anything on top of them. Those special images that you've saved, you can put on the blank parts so that you're not losing anything. So that really cool piece of painted paper that you did, that you want to enjoy and love forever and ever and ever, and don't really want to use it on anything because you really like the way it looks, and then you can glue the image that you really, really like and just didn't know where to put it. And then you've got a book full of all your treasured items to enjoy. It's a personal book. All right? Okay. So it could be actually a very personal book if you wanted to add journaling and things to pages, like a diary that you don't want anybody to see. Um, this would be the perfect something to do that with as well. Add wrapping paper from a gift that you've got, um, scrapbook paper that you really like, those color book pages. You get the color book and you color maybe one or two pages in it, and you're off to something new. So you've got all of these books, or maybe you just have one book that's got a couple pages. Why not just take those pages out and put them in something like this so that you can enjoy them? Because are you going to finish the entire book? Do we all have time for that? Sure, um you could use anything. If it's for your personal use only, you could include anything. I do have to say though, using things like magazine pages, a lot of many of the magazines, they have a copyright on them. So Daphne's Diary is one of those. I learned recently that Daphne's Diary does not like it when you use their pages in junk journals or in collage or any of that kind of stuff. I will not be buying a Daphne's Diary magazine again because I buy magazines to use in my artwork. Now that I know that they don't like that and will come after me, I've decided that I will not be buying them anymore. I will not use them. So you do have to keep in mind that some of those places do not like you to use their things like that. But if it's something very, very personal, you're not really showing in YouTube videos that you are just, writing in for yourself, of course, it's a great place to add things that mean something to you. Your favorite poem. Yes, by all means, copy your favorite poem into your book so that you have it. Your quotes that you've collected. Maps and, travel mementos, any kind of mementos. The letter that you got from your favorite aunt. Maybe it was the last letter that she ever sent to you. You don't know what to do with, you know, it would be a great place to put something like that, all your little bits of treasures all together to treasure, to have, and not feel like that you are never using anything, which I sometimes feel like. So in those images too that you really, really like, you can put into your personal book that you don't have to show anybody. No one has to know that you saved a Daphne diary image in your diary. No one's going to know. They can't come after you if they don't know, right? I'm not trying to encourage everybody to use Daphne's diary. Um, but I'm just making you aware. You love the red? I don't know what I had out there that was red. Anyway, so these I was really amazed by all the comments on the videos that I made about these books. And what I want to do now, I've got quite a bit of time. Um, yes. Oh, it was Chinese. It was a Chinese. It was a piece of, well, it was actually the label off a Joss paper pack. I can find it again because both of these books have one. This one. This was a Joss paper bit. It was the cover page of a Joss paper. I really liked it. It's got the Chinese writing on it. It's gold. It's shiny. It's cool. Hey, Carla. And the backside is blank. Now it's too tall, and I didn't really want to make it really skinny, so I folded it in half to make a page this way. So that's what I'm going to do now. I've got my pages that I want to use in this book. Let me do just one at a time, and I will do this one later since I'm going to do a Copic stitch with this one. And I'm not sure if I've got enough pages for it. I probably do. Look how thick it is. It's probably going to be good enough. So what I've done, what I want to do now is I have saved my pages and I'm going to go through my pages because it's easier to work with. I don't necessarily need all these book pages because I know there's something on each one of those. It's easier to deal with pages before you sew them into your book. So you've got to decide, do you want to cover up the back side of the pages or do you want to leave them plain? I might just leave those plain for now because I know there are some pages in here that are completely white. I don't want completely white. Maps are both sides. That's both sides. I could add a little bit more paint to this one. Collage. This needs some collage or something to it. Here's a flyer that's got some paint on it. So I'm just going to take out some pages that might need a little bit more something on. This is really plain, so I'm going to do something with that. The back sides of the scrapbook paper are too white for me. I'm going to do something. This is vellum. It's patterned vellum. I really like the way it is all by itself, so nothing needs to happen to that. Some more scrapbook paper. Here's some scrapbook paper that I glued to another piece of paper. I might have glued these pieces of scrapbook paper to another piece of scrapbook paper so that it was double-sided. And I made a pocket in there so that I can add something. Hi, Rain Girl. Hi, Pink Rose. Hello, anybody else that has come in and I didn't say hello to. I've been busy yapping away. I haven't been looking at chat. This is just scrapbook paper. It's not vintage at all, but it looks like it could be vintage, which is kind of nice. And I just made this pocket here so that it didn't have a bunch of whiteness all over it. So that one is ready to go. I could add a little bit of paint to this one. This is a piece of scrapbook paper. It could use a little bit of something. These color book pages are white on the back side. Not that one. This one is dot to dot page. Here is something from a dream church with, I think it's Korean. I could be wrong, but I think it's Korean. Just loved that. Another something that I added paint to, but I think that that's good enough. Some more Korean. This came off of a publication that I got at Daiso. It was the cover. And I did take it apart. I really liked this, but it's white on the outside, so it needs stuff. This is white. The wrapping paper is white on one side. The printout is white. I'm going to put that in the pile to do something with. I'm not sure what I will do with that. Here's a black piece of paper, and I have punched out some of my frog. I used my frog paper punch. I think it's really cute, but it may be just a really plain page. I may need to do something with that. So I'm just going to get out Jelly Belly menu and recipes. I don't know who might like Jelly Bellies, but it gives all the flavors. Really like that. And this was, I think it came from Oklahoma, but it could have been someplace else, where it was showing where all the carousel horses were in the town. I guess they've got them all over the place, and so there was a map and so that you could go and see all of them because they are all painted very different. So I took that little brochure apart, and that's a page. Maps. Oh, here's a menu, and it is very white on the other side. So actually, I don't need to do anything with these. That's a grid on both sides. I could do something with that. Scrapbook paper, and I'm not sure if I'm going to put these cards in this book. So let me put those to the side. And envelopes. You know, I love the patterns, the security patterns. I thought this one right here is the right size for a page. And I thought it would be cool to have an envelope, and I'm going to try to figure out how to sew it without opening it up. It's one of those, it may not work. I'm going to try it though. But I don't like this being that white. This envelope was a little too wide, so I cut off the top and the bottom, or the sides, so it will be a page. But again, I don't like the whiteness, so I'm going to do something with that. All right. So those are some pages that I need to do a little bit of something with. Here's a piece of stationery. Have to come up with the word, guys. Have to come up with the word. Stationery. Now, of course, it is blank on one side. Hey, Mary. But it's too wide. I like the sun and the moon. I think it needs to be this way up, but it is too long. It's going to be a skinny page, but what I'm thinking I may do is make a pocket, because you know I love pockets. So I'm going to make a pocket that is about that size to put a little something in. And I'm going to fold it in half. And before I glue the pocket edges here, I don't like the whiteness, so I'm going to do something with that before I glue it. And then this, I love that map. This was a brochure something. It's very busy, but I really like this map. So what I am thinking is trimming it so that it is a page. It is too big for my book, so I have to cut it down. And I think I will cut it first, right about there. Don't need that. Now that's about the right size for my book, but it's too wide. So I am going to trim off about that much. Maybe just a little bit more so it looks right. Yeah, just a tad bit more, because it looks a little funny there. Just a little tiny bit. All right. Let's see what that looks like. That looks good. I like this side. But I don't necessarily like the other sides, so I'm going to do something with that. All right. So I've gotten my pages out there that I need to do something with, and I'm going to actually, you know what? I may paint a couple of the book pages. Maybe that one. Just to give it a little bit of color, a little bit of something. And I'm just going to put the rest of these pages in this cover and put that someplace else so they're not in my way, and decide what I'm going to do with this stuff. Now, let's start with this one since I've already started building this page. It would be cool to add some napkin. I think it would be really neat. All right, so I'm like looking at this pattern, because that's maybe all it needs is a little bit of pattern. Let me take the thicknesses off of it so that it will glue correctly. And I think it's got another thickness. Let me get them both at the same time, because that doesn't look like it's all of it. It isn't. It's easier to do both of them at the same time. All right. And I need to do it carefully so I don't rip the napkin to shreds. You guys are talking about iCads. I was going to do the iCads on my Rolodex cards. I just have no time. I am so behind in the things I need to be doing. I just don't have the time. So I'm hoping still to do my Rolodex, but it may be next year. Do I want to do the whole page and then do my pocket? Probably. Probably. So let me kind of cut away this so I don't get glue all over everything. There we go. And I will use that for something else. All right. So these napkins are really fragile. They're really hard to work with. I am just going to add glue to the paper, all over the paper. I want to make sure that I've got the edges really well. And I do like glue stick when I'm using napkins because the more moisture you get on a napkin, the more fragile it gets, and it gets to be really hard to work with. So, and I am just going to lay this down. As soon as it touches the glue, it is stuck. So I want to make sure that I've got it in the right place. Let me kind of fold it down here so I can get a corner exactly where I want it. Before I start munching it down. And smooth it out on the glue. I got it off just a little bit, but it will be fine. All right. Now that it's all glued on there, I can trim it off exactly where it needs to be trimmed. Sorry, trying to get it straight. Trying to, but it's not really letting me. There we go. All right. And of course, I'm going to save that for something. I'm not sure what. All right. So now I've got that on there. And I am just going to make sure that that's glued, because that's not glued really well. And I'm just going to put glue on the sides here. For my pockets. And I already have it folded. So I just have to press that down and let it dry. And now I've got a page with no white spots and pockets to add something to. Thank you, Tilda. I like this napkin. I do like this napkin. The blue is a little off, but oh well. Oh well. So that is a page. It is finished. I'm going to put it with the other pages. Where did I put that book? Right over here. All right. And I've got some other napkins. I kind of want to use this one. I really like this napkin. It is a little busy, but I really like this napkin. I don't know what it is about this napkin. I like it. So let's see here. What do we want to put it on? Do we want to put it on maybe a back of a piece of scrapbook paper? Sounds good to me. Maybe that way. And again, I am going to cut it off about where I want it. I should probably take the backing off first, but I'm just going to do it the other way around this time. I'm going to make it about the size I need it. And then take the backing off. All right. Put that aside for later use. You want to make sure that you take the backing off your napkins, because if you're gluing the backing on, the napkin will come apart and you'll lose the image. You want to make sure that you're gluing the part of the napkin that has the printed bit that you want. This one looks like it only has one layer. Let's make sure. Nope, it's got. Oops, I just ripped it. I'm too rough with them. I want to say it's got another layer. Can't find it. And of course, I don't have any tape. Got this one at IKEA, I think. I'm not sure if it's got one layer, two layers, or three. I can't tell. Kind of looks like it only has these two layers. All right. All right. It is. I'm going to put it on this really black and white page, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put glue on my page first. Just so that it's easier this way for me. So I'm not fiddling with the napkin too much. Okay, make sure I've got the edges real well. And it's And again, I am going to make sure that I'm only dealing with a little bit of it, that I've got it where I want it first before I start messing around. And then roll it on. And then trim it exactly where I need it to be. So this will thicken up your pages quite a bit, adding things like this will definitely fill out your book. Okay, make sure I've got all the edges adhered really well, because that's what's going to come up first. And I'm rubbing it on the scrapbook paper because that is much stronger than the napkin. If I were to rub the napkin, I'd probably start tearing the napkin. So this way I know that it is good. And that's pretty cool. I like that. A little bird and everything there. So that is done. Should probably let it dry flat. As you can see, I've been messing around with it too much. I don't have the autofocus on. But the edges are a little roughed up. There's a little bit of tearing, and the edges are distressed. Just a little bit distressed, but it's not that noticeable. Okay? I'm not going to worry about it too much. So there's another page that will be ready when it dries. All right. So, and that's all I'm going to be doing is just, should I add another napkin to the back of this? Look how cool those colors go together. Look how cool that is. Is it wide enough? Oh, it is. Wow. I feel like that was meant to be, except that it will be folded right there in half. I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I really want a bird butt on my page. I really like the colors together, but bird butt on a page does not appeal to me. Maybe, uh-oh. Uh-oh. I was not aware that that was only printed on the center. Was not aware of that at all. So maybe I need to just add the panel. Don't you hate it when you think you've got a whole printed napkin and find out that it's not? I think this is the first time I've really looked at these. I haven't had them very long. I've not had a chance to really mess around with the napkin journal either, so. All right. Do I want that gray? Not really. I really don't think I do. So let me put this napkin away. I will use that in another bit. Let me cut off the edge and let me take off the backing. Is it 1 or is it 2? Looks like it's only 1. Now, this one is not going to be a full page. So I am going to do it the other way around this time. Takes a little bit of practice. It takes a little bit of patience. You need to do it slowly, but fast enough so that your glue doesn't dry. And you need to be really delicate with it because it will be very fragile. So I am starting from the center and going to the edge. Makes all the difference when doing something like this and adding glue to the napkin itself. And remember that when it gets wet, even with a little bit of glue stick, it's going to be extremely fragile. Okay, my fingers are glued to it now. See if I can not rip it. And I'm going to put it right smack dab in the center of this page. And I do have a piece of plastic. I thought I had a piece of plastic. Here's a piece of plastic. So that I don't rip the napkin. And I can press it on through the plastic. It's cut a little wonky. But it will be fine. And I got it, it's not centered exactly where I wanted it, but it will be fine. See, this is my perfection. I'm a recovering perfectionist. And having things that aren't exactly cut straight and having things that aren't exactly cut in placed in the center usually drive me crazy. So, but it's kind of cool. And I need to add something on that side. All right, I think that's enough for the napkins. I could get out some images and put some images on some of these. But what I really think that I am going to do is add a little bit of paint. Oh, I was going to do some writing too. Before I get the paint out and start making a huge mess, let's do some writing on something. Oh, well, this is a rainbow. Why don't I just write this on the rainbow paper so it's not so white. And I will use black ink. All right, let's see if I can figure out how to do this like I did it before. I haven't practiced. All right. Okay. It's kind of tricky to start out. really tricky to start out. I'm trying to do it. Wouldn't it? I can't read and write at the same time. Writing, does that have one T or two? Thank you all for your thumbs up. You guys are fabulous. Would love to see one. All right. I think I've got it written wrong here. So obviously I wrote this because all the spelling is wrong. I'm dyslexic, so if it looks wrong, it's probably right. If it looks right, usually it's wrong. And my grammar is probably bad too. Sorry. I can't read, write, and talk at the same time. Maybe I should do this later. Don't show the grammar. Don't say it out loud. Oh. Hi, Loretta. And maybe I should just do this later. See, this word writing was spelled correctly here, but not correctly in a different place. So obviously I didn't copy this from someplace else. I don't remember writing this. So, oops. I do have a Facebook group. It's called Art Experiments on Facebook. And if you, we've got a folder up there to share handwriting, all kinds of stuff. Vicky has a fabulous grocery list. I just absolutely love the grocery list. Hi, Lala. It's very special. I really enjoyed that. But there's some other things up there. People are posting things so that you can download, print it out, and use things in your artwork. If you've got something, like if you want to handwrite a little letter to anybody. It can be complete nonsense. It's just the writing. It looks really good in collage. That's what I want to use it for. It looks really, really good in collage. So it's just a place to put things to share. Go and check that out. You might find some cool things that you might want to use for your pages. And if you have anything that you want to share, please post it in there, because that's what we like. This is a flyer that I think I was practicing or investigating to see what my handmade stamps look like. And so I am just going to continue on with the time I've got left, doing some stamping on some of these white pages, adding some paint. Go. Having some fun. I like to stamp before I add the paint, because I don't like to wait for paint to dry. And usually what I do is I do painting and then I walk away from my desk and just let it dry naturally. I really like this stamp. I did this quite a while ago. It's the children's fun foam shapes on a piece of milk carton plastic. But I do like the way it works. I do. I like that. And I guess I should make sure all the ink is off, because that's quite a bit of ink still. Wow. Okay, so that's a whole page. That is definitely a unique page, but it is kind of cool. I don't use that one enough. I should use this one more, because I do like the way that looks. All right, so let's use some of the circles. So that my backs of these papers are not quite so white and stark and blaring at me. I kind of like that. Of course, I could add some scribbles and some writing. You know what else I could do on the backs of something else? Maybe on this piece of painted paper. You know what else I like to do, guys, and I haven't done in quite a while? Can you name it? Can you name it before I start doing it? You know, I always have fun doing this. Circles, spirograph. I haven't done spirograph in a while either, and I need to get that out. Yes, I'm talking about the crazy lady circles. Let's use some metallic pencils today. because I like the way they look. Okay, and some blue, a little bit smaller, quite a bit smaller. Let's do some little ones. I haven't done circles in a while, guys. You know, I have been so busy. I've got my family book that people have been giving me some information, so I'm trying to update those things and trying to organize and, doing all kinds of stuff. I don't seem to have any time at all to do any artwork. So it's kind of driving me crazy. I'm trying to keep the videos up and then I just run out of time. And I have not been eating right either because I get involved in dates and names and stuff with my family book. And then I realized, 6 hours have gone by and I haven't eaten anything. Time flies when you've got a million things to do. Okay, and I want to do maybe purple with a medium sized circle. You like the circles, guys? Making circles relaxes me. I don't know what it is. I like the way they look. I like making them. There's something about circles that makes me happy. Very happy. I just put a hole in that. Oops. I guess that makes it unique too. All right. So it's still kind of plain. Still just a little, it looks like it needs a little something more. So I am going to get out what I could do is green stamp pad. There's my green one. Use a little bit of that one. Oh, this one probably would go better. Maybe both of them. And my green ink duster. And just add some color. Add some color. Thank you all for spending some time with me today. Thank you for your thumbs up. I do hope that you try to do a personal book and a junk journal, whatever style you want to do. And, I've been having some fun with it. Not as much fun as I would like because I would really like to spend some more time doing it. And I'm hoping maybe this week I will get the time to start putting mine together. Really, really hope so. And maybe with this other one, I'm going to use some fun foam Yeah. Some fun foam. And I probably should have done some spirograph, but I don't have it sitting out so that I can grab it anymore. So there is something on the back of that paper now. So it's not quite so white, stark, and blaring in my face. I could do, I think I want to do, I don't like all this. Do I have some orange? I know I've got some orange paint. Maybe the same color, and maybe I should stamp some circles or some kind of pattern on here. That will obscure some of that writing that I really don't want to look at. Makes it better for my eyes. Like it. I like it. All right. Now I can't see all that writing quite so much. Hardly at all, really. And I am going to take a little bit of orange paint, drop some drops, and take a credit card and kind of smooch it around. That is really orange. Maybe a little bit of pink. Do I have pink? Pink would be cool with this. I don't have a bright pink, do I? And let's bring back a couple drops of the orange on top. And then when that dries, I probably will add a little bit of more stamping. All right, so thank you. Yeah, the paint is starting to fly. Thanks everyone for spending some time with me. I hope this has answered some questions. I know I had a ton of questions. I've tried to answer them today. And I will try to do a recap of this tomorrow and hopefully get a little bit further with these books. Get some of these books done. It was fun. Hello, color. Hi, Sharon. And it is time for me to go. So wonderful for people to come and say hi and spend some time with me. Thank you all for your thumbs up. It means a lot to me. And I do hope, Maria from Athens, I do hope that you do get your collections together and start using your stuff. I know I've been saying that for a couple of years. I want to use, I've got too much stuff. I need to start using it up. And this is actually really helping me a lot. Um, I'm using stuff not only for collage, but for pages as well. And so a lot of stuff is actually getting used up. I've been streaming for 2 hours. I started 2 hours ago. But it will be a recording. You can see the recording. Um, I stream at 2 p.m. Eastern time. 2 p.m. Eastern time. That kind of turned out nice. You can't really see the writing on it anymore. Um, so and it's using up a lot of my stuff. So all those things that I thought were really, really special, and I have 3 or 4 of them. I am making extra books and will probably be selling a bunch of stuff. So it's helping me organize. It's helping me use up stuff and use it up pretty quickly too, which is really helping me a lot. Every Tuesday, just about every Tuesday. There have been a couple Tuesdays that I've missed, but just about every Tuesday. So thank you all. I'd love to see your books if you are part of the Facebook group Art Experiments. Um, please post what you're doing. I love to see pictures and things. And if you don't belong to Art Experiments, just answer a few questions. It is a closed group. We want to make sure you're not one of those spammers or, you know, one of those people that we don't like, that post things that we don't like to see. We want to make sure that you're a like-minded person. But if you answer the question, say you heard it on YouTube, you will get into the group, and then you can post things, and I can see what you're up to, and you can ask questions. It's a great group. All right. I hope to see all you newbies again. It was it was extremely fun. And hopefully I can have a few of these books done and I can work in, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to add some bits and pieces to one of these books. But I just didn't get them done. I just didn't get them done. If my family wasn't so big, it would be very helpful, but since they are. And I'm going to add some paint and stuff to these pages. So thank you all. It was fun. I will see you next week, 2 p.m. on Tuesday, 2 p.m. Eastern. Thanks, everyone. Bye.